Mr. Musyoka was a very effective and professional election official, an amiable gentleman, a family man, and notably an outstanding patriot who has paid the ultimate price in the course of executing a key national duty. The IEBC and the country have lost a huge resource in a man who had become a highly dependable electoral manager. The answer to this question seems to be that the bell tolls for the election officer of the IEBC every 5 years. I ask and I wonder, why must an election officer be murdered after every general election? Whose gods do we anger by performing our sacred constitutional duty? Which earthly deities do our good deeds and duties so grievously offend? 5 years ago, we lost our ICT manager, Chris Musando. A week ago, we have lost our returning officer, Daniel Musyoka, who now lays before us and the nation. Their only crime is that they serve this nation diligently and honestly from their workstations at the IEBC. In this general election, the abuse of staff reached a very unimaginable scale. In an incident never witnessed before, Commissioner Professor Gulier, Commissioner Molu, and Mr. Marjan, the CEO, and myself were physically assaulted and injured at the National Sterling Center, that's at the Bomas of Kenya. These shameless attacks, amounting to election offenses, were perpetrated by, among others, persons regarded as national leaders in the full view of the whole nation and the whole world. To date, no one has been arrested for crimes committed against senior constitutional office holders seen live on national television. Further to date, I'm yet to hear of any human rights group or defenders condemn the heinous act that occurred at the Bomas of Kenya on 15th of August. If the leadership of IEBC can be attacked in public, where there was heavy security, one cannot begin to imagine the peril of the IEBC staff suffer or go through tucked away in the corners of the country. I call upon the Inspector General of Police, the Director of Criminal Investigations, and the Director of Public Prosecution to move with speed to investigate and charge the perpetrators of these election offenses, which were geared towards subverting the will of the Kenyan people. IEBC staff have suffered physical body attacks, threats to their persons and families, intimidation, and lawful arrests that can only be termed as abductions. In Eldas constituency, a presiding officer, Mr. Mohammed Kanyare, was shot by assailants, leading to amputation of his leg. Kanyare is still in hospital, and we wish him a quick recovery as we take solace in the fact that his life was spared. It must not be lost to the nation the litany of woes that some members of the IEBC and staff have had to suffer in the course of their duties. We have been subjected to extremely negative ethnic profiling, irascible and unrelenting cyberbullying in the social media, including the creation of phantom and fake social media accounts of returning officers. We have suffered incessant verbal abuse and harassment from some politicians and their henchmen. My fellow countrymen and women, we cannot continue like this. We cannot make working for IEBC a death sentence, a place where honest professionals will shun. Our job is to prepare a register of voters, not to prepare a register of our murdered staff members. Our job is to prepare for polls, not to be prepared to be poll bearers of our murdered staff. It defies logic that with the sophistry and technological capabilities that criminal agencies have, they have not been able to resolve these mysterious murders of our staff. It's time that these agencies lift their constitutional, statutory, and operational calling and conclude investigations to see these troubling, tragic murders resolved. For as long as these murders remain unsolved, they will not only create an environment and culture of intimidation, but it also embolden the impunity of the perpetrators of these heinous acts. My fellow countrymen and women, if we do not stop the bell from tolling for IEBC, the bell shall surely toll for all our independent institutions and the country at large. Kenya is not a failed state, and we must refuse to believe that ours is a country where the rule of law can be suspended at will during the election period. In the interest of justice and for the sake of the families of our slain staff, as well as our institutional interest, as IEBC, we demand a comprehensive statement of the state of investigations of these murders. The abduction and execution of IEBC officers such as Musyoka, whom we mourn today, fits into an unfortunate pattern of harassment and intimidation of IEBC staff.